Hey Soul City, how you doing? I hope you're doing well and
Yes.
that you've been enjoying the weekend.
As you know, there's been some changes in the lockdown recently.
Yes.
Quite exciting.
Yes, it's true. So Ben and Emma are going to tell us and update us where we are with Soul City and what we're going to be doing in the upcoming weeks. So stay tuned. It's exciting. Over to you guys.
Thanks so much, Daniel and Emily. So you may have seen in the news recently that the government have provided some guidelines around churches reopening, and we've been looking into those recently.
And if you're like me, I was really excited when I saw this because, you know, we've missed your faces. We want to be back in physical community and close to people. And so we've been meeting with trustees, talking with other church leaders, seeing how they're understanding it. And what we've realised as we've looked through the detail of the guidelines is it's not quite as straightforward as we first thought. We could bring some people back together, but at social distance, without any singing, without any real preaching, without any kids ministry. Kids would have to stay in their family. There's so many intricate difficulties that will be going along this. And so we've been asking the question, not just what can we do now, but what would be the best next step for us as a church? And we've had a really, really good idea. What was the good idea, Emma?
Yeah, so we're going to be launching watch parties. And the idea is that you can have your friends and people that come to church with you in your home. So one other household, as the government restrictions allow, just one. And you can invite them, maybe you go for a walk together before church. You meet, you watch church together, and then afterwards you could even have lunch with them. And this is a really amazing way to combine the content that's coming out from the digital into your physical environment with your friends.
Yeah, and so this is like entirely up to you. If this is something that you think you're going to be blessed by, I personally think it's a fantastic way to start reconnecting, re-meeting with people that we've missed. And actually it's an amazing opportunity. There's so many people who maybe you wanted to invite to church, but they never would have come.
Yeah.
But you get to bring them into your home and watch together. So tune in next week, pray about who you could invite and share your pictures. I'd love to see just all the different ways that we can be church across this whole region as we step into this next phase of what it means to be Soul City Church. Thanks so much, guys. Back to you, Daniel and Emily.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. So as you can see, it's super straightforward, super...
I've already got my guess.
What are you doing? What are you on?
Joining my watch party. Come on, Olivia. Bacon buddies at the ready.
Wait, do you want to do a watch party together, Sam and Olivia?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah? Great. It's that easy. Just get
We've
on
got
the
our
phone.
guess, who are you going to invite?
Just get on the phone, ring somebody, and make it happen. See you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Pretty straightforward.
So easy.
Pretty easy. Just invite people. Now, before Ben comes on, I have an idea to play. Let's a little quick kind of memory.
We like games.
Little something.
Alright.
Okay. This is called the I'm Sorry, I'm Lost.
I'm
Now,
lost.
I'm
late.
lost. I'm late. Sorry, not I'm sorry. I'm lost. I'm sorry. I'm late. So it's pretty straightforward.
Standard for me.
What I need to do is, hey, I didn't want to say anything. What I need to do is, I say, sorry, I'm late. And then the excuse of my lateness is based on the plot of a movie. And
Okay.
based on the plot of the movie, you need to try and guess what movie I'm talking about.
Think about the movies I like, please. Get a memory.
Oh, no.
I want to win.
I mean, but maybe you guys can be guessing as well what movie I'm talking about. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm late.
Okay.
I was with a whole bunch of other singers singing a song along with
Singing a
different
song-along?
countries.
Do you mean a sing-along?
It's a song along, actually.
Song-along?
Yeah.
The Eurovision? That's not a film. The
It's
Eurovision isn't a film!
a film.
I don't is that a song-along?
No, it's called a song along. Did you guess it was?
Is it a
Eurovision?
song-along or a sing-along?
That
I didn't
particular,
know a song-along was a thing.
that particular movie is called Song Along. It's Eurovision, the story of Fire Saga. That's the name of the movie. It came out last weekend.
I didn't know that.
Well done, well done.
Well,
you got that.
didn't know it's a
You
film, but I
were-
got it right.
Oh, for that, hold on,
Okay,
you
I've
your
got
turn.
one. So, sorry I'm late. This morning I was making waffles and Then I had to go and rescue a princess who was trapped in a castle with a dragon.
Enchanted?
Close, but no. I'll give you a clue.
Princess
In
and
the
the Bride.
morning, I'm making waffles.
What was
You have to do it. Please tell me you all know that.
Okay. Don't tell me the answer.
Okay, this princess then turned green.
Oh, Shrek.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. You got that in the end.
Right.
Good thing. I thought that was pretty good.
That's very good. That's why I guess it's 1-0 to you because you're winning. Okay. I'm sorry I'm late.
Mm-hmm.
I was driving a car and then I saw this kid in London swinging from house.
Spider-Man.
Well done.
Oh.
Which one though?
It could be 1, 2, or 3.
No. Which one is it? Spider-Man in London. What's the
Well,
actual
give us a bit
topic?
of a... Oh, because it's in London.
That's the clue. That's the clue.
No idea. Not
Okay.
Spider-Man.
So I was late because and then I got tangled in the web. I wanted to come home, but it didn't happen. Anyway,
Well done. Okay.
Yours.
Sorry I'm late. I was on a boat.
Mm.
I was painted like those French women. And I don't know what to say. I nearly drowned.
Titanic.
Yeah. Hey, I'll do better than you. Did you get that? I hope you did. I hope you like that.
Anyway, Ben is going to be bringing us a word. I'm excited for this. Over to you, bro, as I compose myself. To bring us back into that place, into that special place.
That was good though, right? Did you like that?
I am so stressed right now. Like, I can't even put it into words how frustrated I am just with everything. Like you might wonder where I am. I'm in a recording studio. This is where I've been coming for the last few weeks. And the reason why is this was supposed to be a quiet blank canvas. We're doing a series called How's Your Soul? And I wanted to ask some deep questions. I didn't want us to get distracted by clever camera tricks or loads of kind of different colors and graphics or any of that stuff. I just wanted you and me and deep, honest conversations. And yeah, I've come here today and they booked in a band there, they booked in a band there, and they're playing with a lot of drums and bass, and it is so distracting. I can't even think straight. I mean, I'm so easily distracted, and there's all of this noise, and it's just like, I just feel like I can't do this. Honestly, a minute ago, I was just standing here, and I was like, look, God, I'm done. I'm going to just go, and we'll work out something else. Like this isn't going to work for me. It's too loud, it's too stressful, it's too chaotic. And just as I was packing up, I felt like God said, stop. Tell them how you feel. And let's talk about that today. I think that the truth is that the bands around me, they are stressing me out. But my heart was already stressed. My soul was already frustrated. We live at a time where there's so much noise, there's so much tension, there's so much frustration, there's so many things in this season that we don't want to be here. I wanted this time to be perfect. I wanted this to be an environment that I could control. And yet in my life, there's so much weirdness. And honestly, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of going to shops and standing on those stupid dots. I'm tired of avoiding people. I'm tired of waiting for my turn. I'm tired of the stress. I'm tired of the emotional pull. I'm just tired of the drama. I'm tired of the chaos. I feel like my heart just is just a roller coaster at the moment. And it's not just this room that's been causing me to have no peace. I've not had peace for a while. And I don't know what you're like. I don't know if this is how you're feeling as well. But this is something I think I want to talk into a little bit today. If you've got a Bible, I'd love for you to open up Psalm 131. This is a psalm by King David, and he says these words. He says, "Lord, my heart is not proud, my eyes are not haughty. I don't concern myself with matters too great or too awesome for me to grasp. Instead, I have calmed and quietened my soul. Like a weaned child who's no longer crying for his mother's milk. Yeah, like a weaned child is my soul within me. O Israel, put your hope in the Lord now and for always." This is what I long for. A quiet soul. I think so often that it will come when the noise stops, when the drama dissipates, that my soul will be quiet when everything is where I want it to be, and yet that's a reality that is yet to exist in my life. I've never had a season where everything was as I wanted it to be, and David says here that there's actually a pathway for finding peace. Do you need peace in your life right now? Do you need calm and a quietness in your soul? I'm one of 5 brothers and a sister. I grew up in a loud household. I mean, we wouldn't talk, we would shout about everything. And then I married Emma, and she's got a quiet voice. And she speaks calmly and quietly, and she brings peace into our home. I want to have a peaceful, quiet heart. And David starts off and he says, "Look, my heart is not proud. My eyes are not haughty. I don't concern myself with matters too great or too awesome for me to grasp." One of the biggest reasons that your soul gets stressed is your need, your desire to control everything. You know, the more people hold on to control, the more stressed and more angry and frustrated they become. And in seasons like the one we're in now, where nothing is in your control and you don't know what it's going to look like, you snap and you get frustrated, and it's hard. In another psalm, Psalm 57 verse 2, David, he says it like this. He says, "I cry out to God Most High, to God who will fulfill his purpose for me." He says, "I cry out to God Most High, to God who will fulfill his purpose for me." I think that so often we're not looking for what God's purpose is for me. We're looking for what I wish my purpose was for me. And what we then do is we start comparing our lives to other people. We start seeing what they've got, their opportunities, their timeline, their situation, their family, their job, their bank account, their car. We compare. And this isn't just something people do outside the church. We do it inside the church as well. Paul talks into this. He's like, why are you always comparing? Why are you trying to have the same gifts as each other? Don't you know that we're like a body? A body has a head and a heart, and it has hands and it has toes, and every single part is important. You know, I think so often in church we look at people with visible ministries. We look at the preacher, we look at the evangelist, or the people on stage, people who go out in bands or do all of these things, and we think those are the ones that I want to be like. I wish that I could do that. I wish that I could be a leader. And I think that we miss the fact that the most important people in church are normally the ones that you never see. They're the ones who are quietly, faithfully connecting people together, bringing love, bringing care, phoning around. How are you doing? Are you okay? If you need anything, you've got my back. It's the people like, they're generous and they're giving of themselves. They're giving of their time. It's the people who come and they just serve. They give their lives away. David's like, don't try and have somebody else's purpose, because it won't fit you. You will do a really bad job trying to be me, and I will do a really bad job trying to be you. Our job is to find out what our purpose is and then to step into it and to live it the best way that we can. How do you find out your purpose? I believe that the best way to find it is the same way that David did, and that's to start serving. We were talking a little bit about this last week. David was a shepherd who just served faithfully. He wasn't looking for promotions. He wasn't looking to change the world. He was in his season serving faithfully, just looking after the sheep, protecting them, guarding them, writing songs, worshiping God. He was doing his best with what he'd been given. Don't get too caught up in the where am I going questions. Serve faithfully in the season that you have been given, and God will then take you to where he wants you to go. And this is what we talked about. David then was anointed a king, and he was put up against Goliath. And then he had to fight Goliath, and he won, and then he ends up in Saul's throne room as a worship leader, like serving the king. And it's this incredible journey, but then the king is actually a mad king, and he's angry, and he starts throwing spears at David because he was so upset with him. Sometimes you serving your season will lead you into a place where people are attacking you. Last week we talked about this. You need to learn to stand strong. I spoke to Cole this morning, and I was like, Cole, what do you think I should preach about today? He said, I want you to tell the church that they need to stand strong. Whatever season you're in, whatever battle you're in, whatever situation you find yourself in, however stressed you are, stand strong. Don't run away. Don't escape. David was in this throne room, and he was attacked and he was hurt, but he stood strong because he knew that God would fulfill his purpose in David. You see, I look at this story and I'm like, God, why didn't David fight back? I mean, no offense, but if someone's throwing spears at me, I'm not staying in that room. At worst, I'm leaving. At best, I'm hurling something. I'm going to do some attack. I'm going to do some damage. Like, that's what we teach our kids as well. Like, stand up for yourself. You should fight back. Don't be a pushover. Don't be a victim. And yet David, he just takes it, and he ducks and he dodges and he dives, and no attack damages him. And the reason no attack damages him is because I think he learned 3 lessons. Number 1, don't learn how to throw spears. Number 2, stay away from people who throw spears. And number 3, watch your words. You see, David recognized what we learned last week, that when you fight fire with fire, you become full of fire. When you fight hate with hate, you become filled with hate. When you fight anger with anger, you don't stop anger, you spread anger. Riots aren't going to stop pain. They're just going to spread it. You can't fight injustice with injustice. You need to break that cycle. You see, peace isn't going to come when you hit that guy back. Peace comes when you start a whole new cycle, when you dodge, when you duck, when you say, I'm not going to retaliate. So often the biggest battles are not the ones you fight. They're the ones that you choose not to fight. David says, I'm not going to control this. I trust God. God will fulfill his plans for me. You see, when you fight for your own plans, you might get them, but they will always be unstable. There will always be somebody else coming to fight and take them away from you. When you get your plans given to you from people around you, there'll be moments when they cheer your name and you're riding high, but then when they turn, they support someone else, you do something unpopular, you will fall back down to earth. You will be vulnerable, you will be hurt, you will always be at their mercy. However, when you recognize that God will fulfill his plans in you, no one can take that away from you, because what God has given you is unshakable, is unstoppable, is undeniable, and it is going to be yours in every season that he wants you to have it. You need to get this. We get stressed because we're so worried we're going to lose, as if it's us that has to hold on to it. David's like, I don't need to hold on to this stuff. I don't need to defend myself. I don't need to work this out. God's got it. And he says, you know what? I don't need to think too highly of myself. I don't need to think too haughty, is this amazing word that he says. I don't concern myself with matters too great or too awesome for me to grasp. He's saying, I don't need to know why God didn't stop the coronavirus. I don't need to know why I lost my job. I don't need to know why my brother got cancer. I don't need to know why that person thought it was okay to speak to me that way. I don't need to know all of these answers to every single question. I don't need to figure it out all the time. I can be okay not knowing. So often it's like we want to puzzle it, we want to figure it, we want to know it. And all that does is leads us to storms and frustration and hurt. And actually, you just need to get that email and say, I'm not even going to read this. I don't need to know. I'm not even going to respond to this. I don't need to know. I'm not going to dwell on these questions that go round and round and round and create a whirlwind in my soul. And then we can be like King David and say, I have learned to quieten and calm my soul. When I read this, it was like a penny drop. You see, we think that peace will come when we get to the spa. We think that peace will come when the bands have all left their room and I get to have this quiet space to myself. We think peace will come when we win the fight. But a quiet soul, the only person who can quieten your soul is you. You need to learn the secret of how to quieten your soul. It's not to fight back. It's not to resolve everything. In fact, I think that David shows us this in other Psalms in many ways. He says, awake my soul. Did you know you can talk to your soul? So often we wake up in the morning and it's like our head and our heart is speaking to us and it's telling all this, like you have a bad day before it's even started and you just accept it. David doesn't accept it. He says, soul, why are you downcast? Like you don't need to stay there. You don't need to be like that. Awaken, pick up, be better, come to life. You can command your soul to worship. Soul, worship God. I don't feel like it. This isn't what this room really makes me want to do right now. This is a bit strange. It's a TV. But soul, you will worship God because that's what we want to do right now. You can speak to your soul. I remember when this was first explained to me, I was talking to somebody and it was back when I first started preaching at church and I would get really nervous. I would get so stressed out. I'd be there shaking beforehand. My heart was pumping. I was just like, okay, I tried to psych myself up and it didn't really work. And afterwards I'd sit down and I just felt like attack. And it was the worst talk ever. No one listened. No one responded. And I beat myself up. And I was talking to a friend about this and he said, you you can talk to your soul. You can actually pray over your soul. And he said, this is what I do. He said, I pray to my soul and I just say the word fire to my soul, like fire soul, fire, fire, fire. And I was like, okay, that's a little bit strange. I mean, I hope they're not watching today, but it is a bit weird. But I liked the idea. And the next day that I was speaking, I was sitting there in the worship time and I just closed my eyes and I spoke to my soul. And I said, peace, 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 peace. Just in time with my heartbeat. Peace, budum, peace, budum, peace, budum. And I wanted to make peace my heartbeat. I wanted to make peace the sound of my soul. I just kept praying it. Peace, peace, peace. And I remember standing there in front of 300-400 people. And I looked out and I made eye contact with as many people as I could. And there was no nerves. There was no fear. There was no shakiness. The room was still the same. The situation was just as daunting. And yet I'd learned to speak to my soul. I'd learned to quieten my soul. When we started the church, it was terrifying. Like we were going to go and plant a church. We had no provision. We didn't know if anybody would turn up. We didn't know if we would reach anyone. We didn't know what it'd be like. We didn't know how this was going to work, and it just felt so scary. And I remember talking to Emma, and I said, you know what? We've got no assurances here. We've got nobody who's going to catch us if it goes wrong. This is we're going out. We're going for it, and it's all or nothing. And we used to joke that church planting was like jumping off a cliff and then building the airplane on the way down. Like it was terrifying, right? And I remember saying to Emma, yeah, but it might seem scary right now, but we have Jesus and he is our safety net. You know what? If you have Jesus in your life, there's no situation that can rob you. There's no hurt that can come in the way. There's no coronavirus that can steal God's plans for your life. You can have peace in any season because you recognize that your hope is tied to Christ. David says, you know what? I'm like a weaned baby in the arms of a mother. And this is such a weird, honestly, this is such a weird description to be bringing into this. I'm like, okay, David, I get the not controlling stuff. I get the not worrying about the questions. I get what you're saying, talking to our souls. But now you've moved on to breastfeeding. I'm just not confident to preach about that. I'm not sure that's my forte. I feel like maybe we need to get somebody else to talk about this. But as I thought about it, I was like, I think I get this. You know, I was talking to Joe earlier today, and Joe and Jess have just had a beautiful baby boy. And I remember when our kids were born, and they were beautiful, and they would smile, and you gave them to somebody else, and they'd give them googly eyes. But then when you were alone with your child, most of the time, they're crying or they're sleeping. Like that's what babies do in these early stages. And it's because babies are like they don't know when their next meal was coming. And so every time they're hungry, it's like panic, like, oh, am I gonna die? Oh, is this the end? Oh, is this the situation which is gonna destroy me? And it's like they jump to worst case scenario every single time. And the truth is, we are no different. We have one bill that comes in unexpected and we're like, oh, I'm done, I'm ruined. My finances destroyed. And it's like we forget that God was faithful time and time again, that he always came through, and yet we allow it to just stress us out. We have one person who says something unkind and we're like, everybody hates me. Maybe I'll just quit my ministry. Maybe I'll just give it all up. Maybe I'm done. And we let every single molehill become a mountain, and it knocks us off and it destroys us. And yet David says, you know what? I'm no longer like that. He says, because I've learned the secret, because I know that God will fulfill his purpose through me. He's like, I'm like a child who's weaned. What he's saying is there's a moment when kids get to feed themselves, and then they can lie in their mother's arms, and they don't need anything from their mum apart from love. They don't need that moment to serve them. They just want to be there. I think that when we get this, when we really get this, that we will stop looking at this season and saying, this season needs to serve me. This season needs to give me something. I need this, or I'm worried about that. This isn't right. This is wrong. That band suddenly has turned the volume up in the next room. We'll stop caring about all of that, and we'll be able to just enjoy the season that we're in. Even though it wasn't the season we would have chosen. Even though we didn't think things would be going this way, we get to sit and rest and find peace even in the midst of turmoil. Because we know this isn't the end. We know Jesus is still working. And so I speak to my soul and I say to it, soul, be at peace. I don't need this stress in my life right now. I don't need you to be a source of chaos. I want to be the kind of person who steps into the room and brings peace. So soul, be quiet, be still, be calm. And then we can become agents of calm, agents of peace, peace bringers everywhere we go. The Bible says, blessed are the peace makers, not the peace finders, not the peace run away from chaos people. Blessed are the peace makers. That starts when you have peace inside your soul. We're going to worship now. I want to do it differently to how we've been doing it the last few weeks. We're not going to all stand up. I don't want you to be dancing in your front room. I know you have. You don't need to be ashamed of that. That's a good thing normally. But today we're going to go different. We're not going big, not going loud. We're going to go calm. We're going to go quiet. I'm going to ask Sammy to play for us. I'm going to ask her to sing. And rather than joining in, I just want to encourage you to close your eyes, to take a moment, to just breathe in and to pray over your soul. Soul, be at peace. In the midst of the storms, be at peace. Chaos I can't control, it's okay. Be at peace. I know I don't have all the answers, that's okay. Be at peace. I don't know what tomorrow looks like, but so you can have peace. Not because I'm optimistic, not because I just hope it's going to be okay, because I know that God will fulfill His purpose in my life. Calm yourself, my soul. Peace.
This is how I fight my battles. 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 This is how This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. Yeah, this is how I fight my battles. Yeah, this is how I fight my battles. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. I'm surrounded by you. We're surrounded by you. Thank you, Jesus, that's the truth for us, God. That is our truth, God, today and tomorrow and forever, that we are surrounded by you. Thank you, God, that we fight our battles by putting our trust in you, by choosing to know that you are God, that you are still in control, that you are still on your throne, that you are the one who reigns now and forever. Thank you, Jesus, that we fight our battles by putting our trust in you. And thank you that you never fail us and that you never let us down. Yeah, God, that's our prayer today. That's our prayer for our church today, God. That we will remember how good you are. You are so good. You're so good, Jesus. Peace, you bring it all in peace. The storm surrounding me, let it break at your name still. You call the sea to still, the raging me to still every wave at your name, Jesus, Jesus. You make the darkness tremble, Jesus, Jesus. Silence fear, Jesus, Jesus. You make the darkness tremble, Jesus, Jesus. Breathe, you call these bones to live. You call these lungs to sing once again. I will praise you, Jesus, Jesus. You make the darkness tremble, Jesus, Jesus. You silence fear, oh Jesus, Jesus. You make the darkness tremble, Jesus, Jesus. Oh Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. You make the darkness tremble, Jesus, Jesus. Silence fear, Jesus, Jesus. You make the darkness tremble, Jesus, Jesus. Your name is a light darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus, that in your presence, God, that we find our peace. Thank you that you are King, that you are in control, that you're the one that we can come to, that you can silence all our fears, God. We can come to you with our burdens, our worries, and you give us something that we can bear. You give us something that is lighter, God. Thank you that you do that for us. Thank you that we have that relationship with you. God, I pray for each person, God, that we would let you in on what we're feeling, God. I pray that we would give you our hearts completely. Lord, I pray that you would search us, that you would know us, God. Anything that's in here that we don't need to be carrying, God, that distracts us from our relationship with you, would you take it? Would you take it, Jesus? We just want to live for you, God. We want to live that life to the full that you promise us, God. And we recognize that that's only possible with you. So Jesus, would you come? Would you come and would you take anything that we're carrying? Would you come? Would you uplift us? Would you come? Would you give us perspective? Would you come and would you just be here with us? Amen.
Oh, thanks for that, Sammy and Luce. So we're going to continue worshipping, but with our giving. So I'm going to start off with a verse from Luke 16, verse 10. Yeah. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much.
Yeah. It's crazy. No, I believe that God has given us resources, right? God has blessed us. God has blessed Emily and I. God has blessed you. We have been blessed with these amazing resources, resources to which we can either bless other people with, or love on other people, or see God's kingdom advance, or use it for ourselves and try to kind of advance our own kind of agenda and whatever we want to do. And it's interesting that, and even in that passage, there's this sense of trust. When God has given us these resources, He's trusting us with this. And every week, every weekend, we get an opportunity to ask ourselves the question, with the resources that God has entrusted me with, what am I going to do with it? And in this particular case, resources can be a whole bunch of stuff. It can be our time, can be friendships, can be all that kind of. But in this particular case, I'm talking financial resources. And I believe that every weekend, every week, we got an opportunity to ask ourselves, what am I doing with the resources, with the financial resources that God has entrusted me with? Am I being generous with it? Am I loving other people with it? Am I seeing God's kingdom advance with it? Or am I being close-handed and I'm keeping to myself and I'm trying to kind of build the stuff that I want to do? And today I want to leave that challenge with you. What are we doing with the resources that God has given us? Are we seeing God's kingdom advance, or are we using it just simply for ourselves? There is different ways that we can give today. You can give it via the app, or you can give it online. But again, I just want to encourage us as Soul City. Let us be a generous people that is willing to be open-handed and give. For those people who been listening to the talk that as Ben was speaking, you feel like there's something I need to do about this. And maybe you feel like you've been far away from God, or you feel like you've kind of disconnected. There's an opportunity to come back home. And there's an opportunity for you to find out more. And if that's what you want to do, drop us a message, slide into the DMs, chat with us, because we would love to pray with you. We'd love to get to know you a bit more. And we always have Alpha Course. We always have a whole bunch of stuff that's happening, which is amazing.
Yeah, and don't forget, next week,
house parties.
Oh yes.
Watch parties.
Watch party.
Block
Not
parties.
house party. Watch
parties.
It's going to be a house party.
It is, because you're going to have
Get
a
everyone in your house.
So maybe you can even grab some food.
Yeah, do what you want.
Have
You can
lunch
have bacon
together.
butties. Well, not you, I bet you, but I will. More for me. yeah.
Anyway, I'm just going to pray for us and then see you guys next week. God, we just thank you so much just for this opportunity for us to be able to gather together, Lord. And as we kind of jump on this watch parties, Lord, I pray that this would be a real opportunity for us to be missional, for us to be able to tell about you to our neighbors and our friends. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Love you, Soul City. Peace.
Bye.
Take care.